No one, never. Because the whole idea to start on your own is to find your passion, to discover something novel, moving, inspiring, to discover something new and extraordinary in yourself, the idea and the business you choose to do. Consider a new role. Find an entrepreneur in you. Take risks. Crave for the new. Build new relationships. Find new energy to break all barriers. Become one with your idea, your passion and belief. Well, since 1999, we have partnered and nurtured more business relationships than any other company. Helping entrepreneurs explore new businesses is not just what we believe in. It has always been who we are. Since Gaurav packed his bags and left off in search of the extraordinary, we have opened and put more businesses on a growth path than anybody else. And the best thing about growth is successful people who are always looking for the right opportunity. Somewhere around you, right here, there is an opportunity to lead you on your path for the rest of your life. As franchise Indians every day, everything we do is creating an opportunity for you, because your growth is our business.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this webinar called Business Opportunity Over Chai. Business Opportunity Over Chai is a webinar series presented by the management of Franchise India every day at 12 in the afternoon with an aim to introduce you to a new business opportunity. Every day we bring exciting and high potential franchise business from across the industries. Over the past 28 years, Franchise India has proudly helped thousands of investors finding the right business opportunity and successfully start their entrepreneurial journey. Franchise India, as world's largest integrated franchise solution company, our role is to ensure that your investment is safe by taking an informed decision and your journey from an investor to entrepreneur is smooth and successful. The objective of this webinar is to give you a direct connect with the brand founders, the key stakeholders, understand the business opportunity in detail, and openly ask any sort of question which you may have related to franchise, the business, the growth, before you take the actual decision. Today, I'm excited to introduce MIB International. MIB International Moms in Business is a global entrepreneurial community dedicated to empowering women, particularly mothers, to build successful businesses, expand their network, and grow together. Positioned as a large-scale community for moms in business, MIB International brings together ambitious women entrepreneurs through opportunities and community-led event. The brand's core philosophy to build around the belief that motherhood and entrepreneurship can go hand in hand. MIB provides women with a platform where they can connect with like-minded entrepreneurs, share experience, access business knowledge, and create meaningful professional relationships. With 1 million plus entrepreneurs empowered globally and a presence across 6+ countries, MIB International is now looking to build a strong presence in India through a franchise-led community model. And to talk about the same, I'm joined with the founder herself. We have Ms. Leona Burton. She's the founder. Along with my colleague, we have Satyam Garg, who's the Executive Director of Franchise India Knowledge Services. We have Manisha. Manisha is into the brand servicing. She's leading this brand expansion all across India. But before I invite Leona to talk more about this opportunity, I would like to inform all our viewers that in case if you would like to ask any question, since we have the founder herself today available on this webinar, a great opportunity to ask any sort of question which you may have related to the brand or the business. You please keep on sharing it into the Q&A box, and we will take them up once the presentation is over. I would now like to welcome Leona. to this webinar.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Of
Great
your
to see everybody.
introduction. Let's get started with a little bit of your introduction, and then we'll move on to the presentation part. Yeah, over to you.
Absolutely. So, hi everybody, I'm Leona Burton. I'm founder and CEO of MIB Network, the world's largest network for women in business. The reason why I started this network 9 years ago is because at the time I was a mum of 4 small children, running multiple businesses. I'd actually just left a career in television to stay closer to home and be around my children a little bit more. I was working lots of hours and not having much time with them. And my eldest son in particular really needed me after he'd been diagnosed with autism. I spent a lot of time at networking events, and honestly, I wasn't blown away. And the reason why I wasn't blown away is because there were very few people who were experiencing the challenges that I was experiencing, or at least they weren't speaking openly and honestly about them. It was very male dominated, and no offense to men, but they couldn't relate to the challenges that I was facing on a daily basis, growing but multiple businesses and being a mum. So I set upon a journey to start my own. And what started out as a small Facebook community in 4 months became a community of 16,000. And when we reached 16,000 female entrepreneurs all over the world, I started to realize that there was something in this and that I wasn't on my own. And actually, every single woman that is in business that I speak to about MIB nods their head in agreement because they understand whether they have children or not. The complexities around being a woman in business is very different to being a man in business. We build relationships differently, we converse differently. We have different desires, we have different intentions, we want different things for our lives. And so ultimately, it took off, and it took off with a bang. And so I have very proudly never paid for any marketing, and we do have over 500,000 members globally. And I've personally trained over 1 million business owners around the world in my methodology, and I teach people how to network authentically because ultimately we all desire to build our businesses, we all desire to make money. And we want to do that congruently. We want to do it in an environment that makes sense to us. We want to do that with people around us that support us, that see our vision, that can pass work and referrals to us. But that is not forced. And one of the things that I found in more traditional networking environments is you were almost forced for referrals. Now, if I refer somebody to Franchise India, I do that out because I have a desire to see that person win, and I think Franchise India is the right thing for them to take part in as a client. What I found with a lot of traditional networking events was because it was forced, there were relationships that were slipping between the gaps. And so my methodology has been spoken about globally in places like Forbes, in Entrepreneur magazine, and on television stations all over the world. Now I have 6 children, my eldest being 22 and my youngest being 4. I have been traveling the world for 8 years full time. I don't own a home. I am like a little free spirit butterfly, and I build my business globally. And like I said, every single woman that I speak to that is in business, when I talk to them about this business and the opportunity, they nod their head in agreement that life is harder for women in business than it is for men. And so this isn't taking away from men. This is enhancing their lives as much as everybody else's. But we really create generational change within MIB. So when the woman in the house is happy, when they feel fulfilled, when they feel supported, that has a positive impact on everybody else in the house. And not only are they making more money, but also they are feeling seen, supported, guided, and really that has a massive effect on everybody, including the children. Now, I've been very privileged to watch children grow up in our community. Lots of our members have been members for a very long time, and those children have gone on to thrive and grow, and often they'll listen to me more than they will listen to their mum, and that's okay as long as we get them in the right direction. But this is about a 360 approach to support of women. It isn't just about networking. It's not just about passing referrals and recommendations back and forth. It is about providing a holistic approach to building businesses for women that make sense to them. And if that looked like a a smaller business in part-time hours, that's absolutely okay. And if they want a huge business and they want to make 10 figures a year, that's more than okay. And so it really is, it's defined by the individual and not as mentors, not as people that would guide people. And that's not our decision to make. That's for them to decide.
Right. Thanks a lot. Leona, let's get started with the formal presentation. Manisha, if you could just put this on. But by the way, I would also like to say once again to all our attendees, I can see a lot of people have joined. In case if you would like to ask any question, you please keep on sharing your queries into the Q&A box. Yeah, let's get started.
Okay, so as you can see here, we do networking a little bit differently. So like I said, no forced referrals. We have child-friendly networking events. Now, I understand in India that's not as much as a requirement as it is in some parts of the world. However, the opportunity is there for you to bring your children should you want to or should you have to. Now, all of our events are in between school hours because what we found to be true is that people were missing the school runs or finding it difficult to network early hours of the morning where more traditional networking tends to happen. So there are 63 million women-owned businesses in India, which that number blows my mind. 1 in 3 Indian women say they have no one to ask for business advice, which is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. So that's what we do. We provide a safe space for people to come along and network and ask the questions that they're not necessarily having answered anywhere else. Okay, so they're not building alone. We provide the opportunity to connect. And one of the things that we have found is that women in business are lonely. We used to have villages and not so much anymore. We know that we have an aging population and so that moms aren't getting the support that they necessarily had years ago. We know that people, especially women, need communities. And this isn't your average kitty party. That's not what this is. This is about building businesses that make money for that individual in a safe, supportive, and structured environment to create an environment where they can truly thrive and make more money, which is a lot of women want to make more money. They're just not having those open and honest conversations. A lot of our women have fed back. Sorry, Manisha, could you go back a slide? A lot of our women have fed back to us that before MIB, they didn't have any visibility. So maybe they have an incredible business, but they just don't have an audience. One of the things that I teach all of my team and our partners is how to create visibility. Now, I did mention at the start, I've never paid for any advertising, and that is truthful. I have built the world's largest community without any paid ads. And one of the things that I do is pour into my community, pour into my team, pour into my partners, just how to build businesses organically. Because yes, absolutely, ad spend is important for a lot of businesses, but ultimately, if you don't need to spend a lot of money on advertising, why should you? So more traditional networking, they encourage ad spend. We encourage you to grow organically at first whilst you're scaling your business. So again, those people have an automatic built-in referral system, a visibility system based upon the amount of people that are in our organization. We also provide a structure. Now, for example, your kitty parties in India, I've come to learn, they are a very different environment to what we provide. We provide a very structured networking event. And I must stress this is a networking event and a supportive environment absolutely to be able to help them grow and make more money. We offer that support. We offer that structure. It's already built. It's already proven. We've had hundreds of thousands of attendees over our years. And we know what we're doing, and we have a proven model to showcase to people. Okay, so outcomes, connection. Connection, like we've identified, is so very important, whether that be business or personal. We know that it's required in this day and age. We have come through COVID where a lot of people were very, very lonely and felt unsupported, and people have come out the other side craving human-to-human connection, and we provide just that. The second thing that we offer is confidence. Now, a lot of our women have reported pre-MIB and pre-attending our networking events and our supportive environments, they felt a lack of confidence. Now, what they're going to leave with is an increased in amount of confidence. We want these women to walk out in the world and make the money. We want these women to walk out in the world and have the confidence to stand up and pitch for business or introduce themselves to the people that are going to be the decision makers. We also want them to have the confidence to go out and lead their families with more integrity and clarity. The third thing that we offer in MIB is, again, visibility. When you partner with us, when you come on as a member, we already have 500,000 members globally that are looking to work with your business. They are looking to be plugged into what it is that you have to offer. I actually have equity in a business that is a franchise-based business, and 95% of their franchisees have come through MIB networking. That is huge. So if 95% of somebody's business can come through just one platform, just imagine what it could do for your businesses. And I know that a lot of you have other businesses outside of your franchises. So that's really powerful. And the fourth thing that we provide is real revenue. Look, ultimately, we're business owners. We want to be making money, and it is safe to make money. I think for a long time, and I'm from the UK, but I can only speak on behalf of my experience. Women all over the world that I have met have downplayed their desire to make more money. Maybe they've been made to feel small, maybe they've been told they're not good enough, and it is safe to make money, and it is safe to make real money. And not only is it safe, but we're going to show you how to build real revenue. And that's where it gets very exciting, because ultimately, in most houses, women are the decision makers about how money is spent on their children, on their free time, and so we want to put the money back into their pockets. Okay, so let's talk about you being the host. First of all, you being the host is an amazing opportunity if you have other businesses to funnel these members into your other businesses. So like I said, 95% of this other business, their business has come through MIB. And that is time and time again the feedback that I get, not only from our partners, but also our members. So you get a pre-built funnel full of people that are looking for what it is you have to offer, which is a prime opportunity for you to make more money in your other businesses. Again, as an event host or as an investor, you are plugging into this already built, already created ecosystem of people that are looking to connect, not just for your MIB events, but for you as a business owner. It automatically elevates your authority. And we know that authority and influence are so very important when it comes to being a business owner, because ultimately, who do we buy from? People that we know, like, and trust. So if we know, like, and trust you, we're much more likely to spend money with you. And as an event host or as a MIB leader or as an investor, you automatically grow your influence in a very short space of time to a whole lot of people that you wouldn't have necessarily had access to before. You get to connect, you get to encourage, you get to grow together, which is very, very powerful. We get to be each other's biggest cheerleader. We get to hold space for you. We get to celebrate you. We get to pick you up when you're having a tough time, because let's be honest, business isn't always easy. And we really do that in a supportive environment. And again, that level of visibility that you get as a MIB partner is huge. So we have access to all of the press kits and all of the PR that you would ever need. And like I said, I've never paid for any advertising. I've been on TV in America, in the UK. My partners have been on television all over the place so many times that I couldn't even tell you, hundreds and hundreds of times. And so it automatically, again, it raises your influence and your impact so that you can grow your MIB business, absolutely, but also grow your other businesses as well. Okay, Satyam, over to you. Where is Satyam? There he is. Satyam, are you there?
Yes, pretty much I'm there. So, before I go into the financials, Leona, there's a very, very interesting question that is there in the chat box, and maybe it's the right time for you to
Oh,
bring in.
sorry. I was
Because
so
we are
busy
talking,
talking.
no, because we are talking about expansion and franchising now. So one very relevant question is, how do you maintain the authenticity and values of MIB when you expand into different markets and cultures? And someone who's running the largest community, what do you have to say about it?
First of all, I love this question. This is a brilliant question. I think for me as a founder, what's most important is to listen, right? And I have had the pleasure of going to Malaysia recently. I went to Singapore. I went to Egypt. And each of those countries, the cultures were different. The market is different. And the only way that I could figure out how to most connect with those people was to actually listen to what they were saying. So, of course, I can study and I can research and do all of those things, and absolutely that's part of the process. But ultimately, our partners are the people that educate me. And so it's a collaborative process that I am very, very open to as a founder, because ultimately, you guys on the ground, you know your areas and your cultures and your markets much better than I do. So I always take advice from the people that know far more than me. And I'm open to feedback. And that is the biggest thing that for me has helped me grow. So we have members all over the world from over 100 countries. And I don't know all of those cultures. I don't. But I do my very best to understand on a human to human level what they need. So, for example, when we expanded into the Caribbean, it was a very, very different scenario to when we expanded into America. Because ultimately, those people need very different things, and their systems and their processes and their cultures are very, very different. So, in short, to answer your question, for me, it's mostly about listening to the individuals that are on the ground, that have the experience, and that are prepared to say, Leona, this is actually what our community needs, and me taking that on board and implementing those things. I've worked with the UN. I've worked with lots of charitable organizations. I have, obviously, you guys as Franchise India as consultants, and I listen to the people who know, because I don't know everything, and I'm okay with not knowing everything, but I'm here to be educated. Okay, so we have another question. For somebody looking to bring MIB to a new country or city, what qualities would you look for in an ideal franchise partner? And what would you recommend they focus on during their first 90 days to successfully establish and grow? First of all, you have amazing questions. I can't see your face, but I love this energy. Okay, so who am I looking for when I'm looking for an ideal franchise partner? Honestly, I am looking for somebody who is hungry, who is coachable, who is excitable, who sees the vision and the mission of the organization, because that is the most important thing here. The most important thing is our members walk out feeling supported, seen, and heard, and ultimately building a business that makes sense to them as individuals. And that is the most important thing. So I don't look for qualifications. I don't look for past experience. I look at them as individual humans and what they bring to the table. And I'm very proud of our current team that they are built up of a wide variety of human. But the most important thing is their heart is in the right place and they see the opportunity as a business, because it is a business. But ultimately, they want to positively not only their lives, but the lives of thousands of women before them. Right? And the children that are going to be positively impacted, and the families that are going to be impacted by the women that they support. And that's what we look for in a franchise partner. So hungry, yes. Ambitious, absolutely. But also sees the mission and the vision. That's really important. And what would I recommend that they focus on during the first 90 days to establish and grow the community? That is a very nuanced question. Here's the reason why. Some people partner with us and have an already built network. And so the focus for those individuals would be slightly different to somebody who comes along, they see the mission, they see the vision, they're hungry, they're all of the things, but they actually don't have an inbuilt network. And so the approaches would be different for both types of person, but not one is right or wrong. They're just going to be different. So it depends upon the individual, the franchisee, as to what we would focus on for the first 90 days. But ultimately, we want you to be in front of people. We want you to be having conversations with people. And both myself and our team would be supporting you to be able to do that to be able to make your area a success. So I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry it's not as cut and paste as you might like it to be. We do have a system in place. We have a 90-day game plan, but ultimately I want to focus on our franchise partners as individuals, because absolutely they are. They're all individuals and they all have different skill sets, but they all have different challenges that they might face within their community that, in my experience, there's nothing we can't get through. But we might have to navigate slightly differently based upon your area.
Yep. And just to give you a very simple, straightforward answer to how we manage the same value systems, I think the lady on the screen is the answer, because she's everywhere. Over the last 1 month, I've traveled with her to about 3, 4 countries. And she could have just said no, or she could have just said that, Satyam, it's your responsibility to take it forward. But she was there on the ground, meeting people, shaking hands, understanding their requirements, understanding the culture of networking in the market, and helping entrepreneurs grow. So I think when you have such leadership, then automatically the value systems are passed on, because they are with you in the process of building the business, to say. So coming back quickly to the franchising models, we are looking at allocating city franchise rights. So, and we have, if you can see the slide, we have bifurcated that into 3 tiers. So tier one cities are typically the metropolitan cities that we are looking at, and we are starting with a franchise price of about 20 lakhs. For tier two cities, we have our franchisee price of 15 lakhs, and tier three is 10 lakhs. Now, what do you get is you get the exclusivity for that city, and you can start creating groups and start enrolling women entrepreneurs into it. Now, they necessarily don't have to be moms. Even if they are running a business, about to get married, not married, they still can be a part. The whole idea here is we are creating an ecosystem where we are empowering women entrepreneurs just not to network, but also to be handholded to grow their businesses, get the right advice, get the right coaching, get the right mentoring, and get a belief that we are there with you while you're growing your business, while you're raising your children, while you're taking care of your family. But we are here with you to take care that you stand strong and you build something that you always wanted to. So that's the real, I would say, the essence. And you can take the city rights, and start creating groups, start enrolling women entrepreneurs, and when they join, they pay you an annual subscription fee, and that becomes your revenue. And I'll talk about the revenues as we move forward. The second franchise model is, if you understand that this is something that is very scalable and you would like to have a major share in the market, then we also are looking at area developer model, where you own a cluster of cities or a state, and then you can sub franchise and operate through them and build a much more larger business for yourself. So we are also open for area developer rights, but depending upon the profile, depending upon the experience, skill set, the value system that you bring, the belief that you bring, we will evaluate your profile and then discuss whether you're looking for a city, cluster of cities, or a state, and we can discuss the commercials accordingly. So we are looking at city level franchisee, or a cluster of a city or a state franchisee, which we call the area developer model. So that's where it is. And when a region is awarded, first you undergo a detailed training, and you do it with Leona and our master trainers. Then, there is a business development and sales training that we do in India also, which is 2 days just to get you started. We give you access to all our resources, systems, using which you start launching your groups and start running events in your city. So that's how the entire opportunity works. Manisha, we can move forward. So again, just recapping of how we are. So tier three, tier two, tier one markets. That's why we have our royalty structure is 20%. So whatever membership fee that you collect from entrepreneurs, 20% of that comes to the brand as royalty, and 80% becomes your revenue. There are 2 in-person meetings in a month. All our groups are run by the franchise owners themselves, or the teams that are involved. And basis the model that you choose, at any level, if you look at 50 to 100 entrepreneurs, we feel that you reach the break-even stage, and thereafter you start making profitability. So that's where we have done, and we can send you, or when we get on a one-on-one detail call with you, we can walk you through a detailed financial model as well. So that's how the numbers look like. Now, what are your revenue streams? So anyone who's looking at joining MIB as a member, we charge a annual membership fee of 35,000 plus applicable taxes. Now, against that, they get 24 meetings in a year. Apart from that, there are various spotlight sessions, events, coaching sessions that are organized by you as franchise owners, and that also bring in additional revenue streams for you. So you can capitalize. Once you have a community that believes in your vision, that believes in the concept, there are various ways on how you can monetize it and run an ecosystem. I think one of the biggest success stories have been, when you I always believe that networking is more about leadership than it's just about finding clients for your business. People join networking groups because they look towards leadership of the person that's running it. So I think one of the biggest revenue streams for you, apart from the memberships, can be of how you can mentor them and how you can coach them. And again, I go back to Leona, who's there with us. She mentors women entrepreneurs all across the globe. They believe in a vision. They're always asking her questions. And yesterday, I remember when I was doing a call with her late in the evening, she was already exhausted running so many coaching sessions with entrepreneurs. But why is she doing it? She could be building any other business or doing any other things. There's so many. She holds equity in more than about 10, 15, 20 well-funded companies, which are growing month on month. But still, she is here because she feels she's here to make a difference. And that's what we really bring in. So I think coaching and mentoring can be a great revenue stream apart from the various events and spotlight sessions that we also conduct. So multiple revenue streams that you have. And once you have a community, there are various ways you can monetize it as well, I would say. Yeah. So maybe Liana, you want to take this from here? Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the things that wasn't on the slides, but I want to touch on, is we actually run conferences all over the world. And again, that's another way for you to be able to monetize. So we will have 200, 300, 400 people at a conference. And again, so you're not just making money from your tickets sold, but you're also making money from the sponsorship. And people will sponsor, and they will sponsor well, because ultimately we have eyeballs on the business and our people that they want. So it's a great additional revenue to what already works. And that's what I would say. I would say absolutely, there is so much scope here to make money in lots of different areas. I also have as part of my leadership training for my partners, is one of the things that I actively encourage people to do is speak. And so you become automatically an influence and an authority figure. And so I make a lot of money as a keynote speaker. And again, it's something that you can do as an additional revenue to what it is that you're doing currently. So there's lots of things that you can be doing. So your 20%, what it gets, right? At the end of the day, you're going to be partnering with MIB, and you have access to us. You have access to my brain, and I've been doing this. I've actually been mentoring for 15 years at this point. Like I said, I've trained over 1 million people. So you get access to my brain, and you get access to the brain of lots of people who are in my senior team, and my senior team are full of HR professionals, social media professionals, you name it, I have them in my team. I feel very blessed to be surrounded by some incredible individuals. And again, that covers your 20% is you get access to all of that for free, which we charge quite a chunk of money for. So it's a bargain, if I do say so myself. We get monthly training. We have external trainers come in that I feel you can benefit from, and accountability, support system. And again, I do things like I run partner networking events, so that you as mid partners get to meet the other partners. Because ultimately, if you have other businesses that are not location specific, you can grow your other businesses by being a MIB partner, because there's going to be somebody in America or Australia or the Caribbean or Spain that wants your product or service. And so again, It creates these pools and the ecosystems that bring everything together. And like Satyam said, I have investment and equity in other businesses. And so it's not, you don't just get access to MIB, you get access to the other people in my other businesses too, which is very powerful. And Satyam has seen the way that I work and I move and I get stuff done. Okay. So we play big because ultimately we want our partners, we want our members to win. And that's the most important thing here. Okay, what do you get? Okay, you get comprehensive resources, of course. So we have everything that you need. We have everything that you need from your introductions written to any icebreakers that you need within your events to move people through into networking. We've got networking games created. We have over 5,000 social media graphics created. We have press kits created. We have everything that you've ever needed and probably more, because that's really, really important. We obviously have a tech stack, which we can dig into if you're interested in having that conversation. We have all of our meeting structured, created. And again, one of the things that I want to touch on is that we are, and going back to your question, we listen to our members, we listen to our community. And one of the things that I found most challenging about going to networking events is the same structure every single week, right? The same 25 people talking about the same things every single week does not fill me with any excitement whatsoever. And so, what was really important to me when I was designing and building this company was that we had set meeting structures, absolutely, and our structures work. However, we have the flexibility to run different types of structures. So, for example, we could have the intro, an icebreaker, a guest speaker, and then an hour of networking. We might have an intro, a guest speaker, and then speed networking. We might have a masterminding session. There are so many variations to the same thing. Ultimately, we want people to connect, we want people to learn how to build a business, and we want people to make more money. So all of the structures have been created with that in mind because we know that people want different styles of conversations. So the meeting structures are created for you and readily available. And again, we have a year's support with these guys, and they know what they're doing. Thank you, Manisha. You can switch on to the next page.
Yeah.
This is
So
Satya.
again,
Previous.
again, just to kind of let you know, what we have done is, we have given you a brief snapshot of how the revenues would look like. So what we have considered it, if in the year one you can mobilize up to, 100 to 150 women entrepreneurs, what's the kind of revenue you can expect out of it? Against which there are some direct costs that you will incur in your business, which would be, some venues, some maybe telecallers or a marketing person that you hire, and some administrative costs that you know typically would be in the range of about 16 to 20 lakhs. Then royalty, which is at about 20%. So your net operating profits post the direct cost and royalty would be in the range of about 12 to 36 lakhs, depending upon the number of entrepreneurs you get. So what I'm trying to say here is that at any level, the net margins in a business like this is anywhere between 50 to 55%. And if you add multiple other revenue streams like mentoring, events, conferences, then of course these numbers get high. Leona runs the entire business very, very organically. She has zero spends on marketing and events, but that's it. Art we will learn from her as we move forward in the business. But to be fair, we've accounted some of those costs so that you get a real picture of the kind of business you're typically getting into. But as on year two, if you increase that number to 300 to 400 members, then easily, net margins can actually increase to about 60% and get you a great cash flow, cash rich business. And then year three onwards, if we are able to build a community of about 500 entrepreneurs or women entrepreneurs or more, then we really get into the wealth creation space to say. So that's what it is. In a very, very fair manner, the typical payback period in a business like this is 10 to 14 months. While Leona would say that they have seen these in some markets where they have done it in less than 6 months also, but we have kept an average out period, and we feel that anyone who believes the vision, follows the vision, and implements the thing that they are being told, this is a very, very profitable and a cash rich business, I would say. Yeah. So then the rollout plan is basically the foundation where we get into contracts and get into trainings, deciding the rollout plans. Then I feel this is a very event-driven business. Phase two is more about doing some awareness, inviting people into an MIB event, giving them a flavor of what MIB meetings are really all about, and that's how you start enrolling members. Once you reach to that phase, once you have got some growth, maybe it's time for you to look at larger partnership where you think of owning more cities or maybe a region and running it like an area developer. And that's where we feel the real growth unlocks. But all of this for your first year of go-to-market support is on us. We help you plan, we help you implement things on ground, and that's how you get started in the journey, I would say. Yeah. So, yeah, Leona, again, over to you in terms of helping people understand of how really the meeting formats work. Yeah.
Of course, absolutely. So, this slide isn't quite right, so I'm going to speak from my heart. The main thing here is that we reach out to the women in our community and we invite them to the events. Once they get through the door, they don't leave. They don't want to leave. They want to stay and they want to come back immediately. And so ultimately, what we do is we help you find that first cohort of humans that you are going to invite along. We are going to help you deliver an event that absolutely makes sense to the individual and enroll them and get them going in their businesses and really provide that support. And it is as simple as that. The system is very, very simple and it's very, very duplicatable, which for me was very important because ultimately we don't want to be adding to our plate any more than we already have on there. So this is about providing a safe and supportive environment for our women, inviting them along, doing a good job of holding their hand and supporting them and cheerleading them, championing them and helping them build their revenue and giving them a great time, and they don't leave. So what that looks like is us as an organization helping you get that first group of people in, nurturing those people and maintaining that business. And my track record is proven. We don't lose many members because we know what we're doing. Because we have access to so many women globally, all of them tell me the same thing. And it doesn't matter where they're from, what country they're from, what race, religion, what experience, how much money they've made. They all say the same thing, and that is they feel unsupported. They don't have a safe space to be able to learn and grow. And we provide them with that. And the rest is history, which is why it has been so successful for so very long, because ultimately those challenges don't change. They really don't change because there are women every single day telling me exactly the same thing. So we provide you with all of that support and training, and then we follow up, and we don't have to do much follow-up. Honestly, I mean, Satyam and I laugh about this because he obviously folds in a marketing budget, and I laugh and I'm like, I don't need one. Because I know that when women come through the door, they don't go. So they just don't. And we help you with all of those things. So yeah, that's what we do. Connection over everything, 100%, absolutely. It works every single time. Okay, here's our weekly meeting. So here we've actually talked about a weekly meeting, but Satyam was talking about a fortnightly. And again, this is something that we can discuss as potential partners, is what is right for your community. Okay, I love weekly meetings because I am an avid networker. However, in some areas it would be appropriate to have a fortnightly meeting. So we're happy to discuss that with you. So again, this says arrive and connect. Of course, we welcome everybody in as hosts. Make sure everybody feels comfortable. If you've got newbies, we want them to understand who's who and what needs to happen. Then we have an icebreaker and intros. Again, they are varied from time to time to keep things fresh and exciting so that our members don't zone out when we start talking about intros. Again, one of the things that is really important for me is that our women aren't terrified by doing their introductions. And that's really important. So if people want to stand up and do introductions, absolutely they can. But we aren't going to get a red card and a yellow card and throw people out because they don't introduce themselves and stand up in front of a room of 50 people. If they don't want to, they don't have to. I do believe in providing a comfortable environment for people. And some people just aren't, they don't feel comfortable in standing up and saying their 30-second elevator pitch in front of 50 people, and that's absolutely okay. One of the things that I must stress for you guys to understand is that we don't have any one-seat policies. The reason why we don't have any one-seat policies is because I believe that we can have two photographers in the same room and they can both do business. Most of the time, they don't do the exact same thing. They've got different ideal clients, they've got different desires, different wants, needs, and all of the above. So we don't have any one-seat policies because I truly believe in the power of collaboration for our women in business. So we have icebreakers, we have intros, and then we'll have a member spotlight. So this is often somebody who has gifted a prize. Maybe it's an accountancy session, maybe it's a social media review, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But that's somebody who has offered to give something to the community, and we will give that away sometimes for the person who meets the most people, or we'll do a raffle or a draw, or whatever it doesn't actually matter. And we even have things like where you hide the salt or pepper pot and you have to do a treasure hunt to go find it. We have a lot of fun in MIB. And we have a lot of fun in MIB because ultimately we know that if you have fun, you're going to build business naturally. You're going to feel more relaxed, you're going to feel more at ease, which means that people open up and share, which means they connect on a deeper level, which means they know, like, and trust each other, and then they spend more money with each other. Okay, so after the member spotlight, we would have potentially share wins because we want to celebrate you. We encourage people to ask. One of the biggest things I encourage all of the women that I work with to do is ask for what they want. Ask for the referral, ask for the testimonial, ask for the sale, ask for a new accountant, ask for whatever it is that they need. I think as women, we've played too small. Or we've played too small for too long. And we've played too small for too long because other people have told us that we should be in a box. And I am about getting out of the box and asking for what it is that you want. So we encourage our members to ask for what they want, ask for those things. Then we'd have a welcome and a mission. So again, you know, an introduction into what MIB is, our mission, our vision, me as a founder. I mean, I always find it weird telling people they have to talk about me. You don't have to, but a lot of our women want to because ultimately I have become somebody that a lot of people not look up to, because that sounds rather egotistical, but you know, they see something in. And as a mom of 6, who has equity in lots of different businesses and mentors lots of people, I think people often look at themselves and think, I couldn't do this. Like, I don't know how other people do this. And I have always been very raw, real, and open with my community about actually what it really takes to build a business. And that if I can do it with 6 children and all of the traveling around the world and all of the things and all of the juggles, that they also can do it. So in their introduction, often people will talk about my journey a little bit because for most people, for those people that are doubting their ability, it's inspirational or aspirational. Then we do networking breakouts, which looks like different combinations of things. I encourage people to meet people that they haven't met before. I encourage conversations to happen that wouldn't typically happen in a networking environment. We encourage them to have fun in those breakout sessions because traditionally when you go to a networking environment, right, it's like we pass cards around. You know, how are you? What do you do? Awesome, great. You know, it's very, very surface level. And what we want to do is get beyond the surface as quickly as possible so that we can build those connections, because those connections are long lasting. We've had members that have been bridesmaids at each other's weddings and, you know, become aunties. And all of my now best friends actually have come through MIB. My business partners have come through MIB. Those things are more than just networking. They are community, right? And so that's super powerful. Then we'd have a guest speaker. And again, our guest speakers are whatever it is the community need. Because ultimately, we want to provide an environment where they're getting what they need and what they want from being in that environment. So the guest speakers, we take advice from the people within the community. to ultimately figure out who they need as a guest speaker and what they need to learn. Because we're always evolving, we're always learning, we're always growing. And I don't know about you, but I spent a lot of money on my business education. And I'm talking hundreds of thousands of US dollars on my business education, because ultimately I knew that I could take that education, I could absorb it, I could repurpose it, and I could package it up and I could teach other people, but I could pass that information on for generations to come. And so we want them to have good education, but we want it to be affordable. And I know, because I've spent so much money on my business education, that a lot of business education is very expensive for people. And not everybody can afford 20,000 US dollars a year to be in a mastermind. And so what we do is we provide them access to snippets of that business education so that they can build up their revenue and ultimately then invest at a higher level in people that they want to work with. So the guest speakers obviously provide some value, and absolutely, as a guest speaker, they get the opportunity to grow their visibility within this network, which means that some of those people are ultimately going to buy from the guest speaker. So it's win-win always round. So we don't pay a guest speaker, but they have the opportunity to offer their services to our members. Some of our guest speakers will even provide a discount specifically for our members alone. So our members are getting even more value from their guest speaker. And then we close and free chat. And honestly, it's hard to get the women out the door because they don't want to leave. They don't want to go, and they end up spending more time together. And some of them will stay for lunch afterwards. And, really, we do struggle to get them out the door because they have such a great time. Okay, 5 reasons why MIB wins in India. I mean, for me, the reason why MIB wins globally is because, truthfully, nobody knows this space better than I do. Nobody understands the complexities of women in business better than I do. Nobody understands the juxtaposition between being a mom and being a business owner better than I do. When I say that I've got 6 children, most people look at me like I've got 2 heads. I love being a mom, but I'm also a very passionate entrepreneur who has had some real success in business and some real failures. I have had some very difficult times in business. So the reason why MIB International for me is perfect for India is because there are women in India everywhere that need this opportunity. They need this business, they need this support, and they need this network. And whether I've been in India or Malaysia or Singapore or Egypt or wherever I've been, I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of female founders and young women that have worked for the founders. And what has happened has been remarkable. A lot of the young women that have worked for the female founders have come and spoken to me, trying to get me to try their sugarcane juice or like whatever it is that they're giving away. And we get talking about them as individuals, and they leave and they always feedback that they've taken so much away and that they feel that I have positively impacted their life direction. And it is those conversations that are so powerful. And so it's not just our female founders, but it's their teams, it's their communities, it's their kids, it's their partners. I've had a lot of men thank me for supporting their wives, because before MIB, their wives felt frustrated, or they felt a lack of support that they weren't getting. And it's powerful. So we're warm, we're friendly, we are child friendly by design, absolutely. Most of our members don't bring their children. They don't want to. They want a space away from their children, or they have a nanny. But to give them the option is powerful. When I entered into Singapore, I've been to that many countries, one blends into the next. I was in Singapore last week and I took my 9-year-old son. And when I got to the door, they said to me, "You can't come in." And I was like, "What? I've just flown all the way around the world. What do you mean I can't come in?" They said, "No, under 16s allowed." Luckily, Satyam helped me out and I got in and it was fine. He had the best time. And not only did he have the best time, I think he might have sold some franchises for us, but More than that, he learned from being in that environment. He learned from being in that environment, and other people actually have messaged me on Instagram to tell me how much it profoundly impacted them to see a little boy at 9 networking, growing, interacting with adults, and how he lifted their spirit. So that is why I do what I do. That is why we as an organization do what we do. Because it's not just about us as business owners, it's about us 360, it's about us as individuals. We provide ecosystems for you to be able to grow as an individual and as a business owner. Yes, I've been featured in Forbes, BBC, ITV, Fox News, CNN, all of the things. But those aren't my biggest achievements, in my opinion. It's the people's lives that we positively impact on a daily basis. And I don't say that lightly, and I don't take the responsibility lightly. I really don't. I understand that what we do has a profound impact on people 360. None of those accolades, none of my awards, none of my recognition, it beats anything like seeing people's lives impacted and changed. It really, really doesn't. And that's why I'm so passionate about bringing this to India, because I know this is needed. Okay, next steps. Hello, let's have a conversation. So wherever you are in India or beyond, if you are mildly interested and you're fascinated by what we do, or you have more questions, I am absolutely open to a conversation. I really, really have a strong desire to be able to bring this to every city, town, globally. Why not start with India? It's a massively developing, emerging market. There are lots of women in business. There's lots of money for you guys to be made as potential investors. And ultimately, we're going to change the lives of your household and other households. It's powerful.
All right. So thanks a lot, Leona, for the detailed presentation. I really appreciate everything. Absolutely made crystal clear for everyone. However, still, in case if anyone would like to ask any question for or have any sort of question, I understand that, 50, 60 minutes is not good enough to have all the clarity, although Leona tried her level best and it was absolutely, clear. However, in case if you still have any question, I would request you to please get in touch with Manisha. Manisha is the key account manager for this brand. And Manisha, if you could just share your number in the chat box so that in case if anyone want
Sure.
more discussion. So as we come to the end of this webinar, I think the opportunity with MIB is quite straightforward. As we already have discussed that India has no shortage of ambitious women building businesses. What is missing in many cities is a strong, trusted, and consistent community where these women can connect, learn, collaborate, and grow together. So MIB brings the proven format to address exactly that particular gap with a global community and a structure, operating system, regular event, and a clear franchise model. We already have gone through with the offerings that we already have. For the partners, this is not just simply about organizing networking event. It is all about becoming the person who built and lead the entrepreneurial community in your particular city. And the beauty of this model is that you can start with one city, build a strong member, the base, create recurring revenue, and with the right capabilities, eventually expand into multiple cities or an entire region. So you have a large base, the biggest scalable kind of business opportunity which you can go for. For anyone, again, I'm just requesting in case if anyone want to go further, want to know anything about more about this business, you can get in touch with Manisha. She has already shared her number in the chat box. It is 844-7380675. So that's where you can get in touch with her, and she's going to help you further facilitating your meeting with Leona. I think that's it, Leona. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for giving us your time, explaining about the business opportunity, a fantastic opportunity, and particularly in the Indian context. We have a lot of women entrepreneur moms are getting into the business. but they really need a hand-holding and opportunity to grow. And that is what you are, bringing to the table. I think that's it. Thank you so much, Leona, for coming. I would also like to thank all our viewers who joined and stayed with us almost 1 hour with us, understanding this business opportunity. I really appreciate your giving us your time. Thank you so much. But before we end this webinar, anything else, as a closing remarks you would like to add, Leona, to the audience?
No, I would just like to say thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. I know you guys are super busy. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out. If you want to come and check me out on social media, you will find me. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, I'm everywhere. If you want to have a little chat over there, that's absolutely fine. So yeah, come and say hello.
Great. Thanks a lot. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining. See you tomorrow once again with a new brand, and we'll explore another business opportunity.